Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. I haven't had the opportunity to do my call in the last couple of weeks, but I'm excited to be back. I have lots of notes that I've taken over the last 2 weeks. Most of the content that I put together is just from the books I'm reading, the interactions I'm having on a daily basis. I try to put myself in a position that I'm always learning something new. And as I learn, I take notes along the way so that I can share good stuff with you guys. As a reminder, if you're watching the live program today, you can feel free. We have a chat screen on YouTube that you can type in any questions if you need help with something. Happy to address whatever you guys are going through in your business or your life. If you watch this down the road, not the live version, always feel free to send in either to me or send in to Happy Agent any things that you want us to cover in these weekly calls. So we should be back on track doing this every Friday morning at 9. So I want to start with some stuff I've been thinking about in my own life recently. And the basically one of the thoughts that I've been working on in my own business and my own life, and it's something for you to think about for your business and life, is your life designed to optimize success? So like the things you do on a daily basis, is your day designed to have optimum health? Is your day designed to have or create the maximum amount of business or success? Or do you just wake up and kind of see where the day takes you? I was reading a blog this week by Seth Godin. He's written phenomenal books on marketing and business. He also has a blog, Seth's blog, that he writes almost daily. And he said in a recent blog post, he said, so many people judge a day by its weather. And he's like, that's kind of messed up because we can't control the weather. So how are you judging the success of your day? And then are you designing a life so that every single day ends up successful? So, for example, like setting up a system that you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to judge today. Today I'm going to win the day if I run 3 miles or get to the gym. Today I'm going to win the day if I solve 3 problems. I'm going to win the day if I make 5 cold calls. So the first part is recognizing like what makes a great day for you, so that you don't have to wake up and say, today's going to be a great day because it's sunny out, or today's going to be a great day, or it's not going to be a great day because it's going to be rainy out. So stop creating situations where you're judging your day by something that you just can't control. So I went through this exercise over the last couple of weeks. There's a great book out there, by the way, if you have not read it yet. It's called Atomic Habits. I think it's by James Clear. And basically what this whole book is about like creating and systematizing everything in life to optimize your day for the things that are important to you. Health, time with family, business. How do you optimize all those things? Because basically what he said is every time you do something, every time you take action, you are casting a vote for the type of person you want to be. So if you've decided that you want to be super healthy and live to 100 years old and live daily, maximizing your health, then if you think about like when you go to the cupboard and you're looking for a snack, like what you choose to eat is a vote in favor for the person you want to be or against that person that you want to be. Every decision you make all day, every day, is a vote for the person you want to be and or a vote against the person you want to be. Even down to like one of the things that I kind of got caught up in the last year or two is just watching programs on Netflix and Amazon Prime, because it's easy, like stuff, like you can just access it. And sometimes I think TV is like crack cocaine, like you can get addicted to it, which is why people binge watch stuff. But as I look at like where I want to go in my business and my life, I'm like so far away from where I wish to be in my business and my life. And so I look at like what are the habits that I have on a daily basis that are moving me further away from where I want to be. And so, for example, one of those bad habits is watching TV. So if I choose to watch TV at 9 o'clock at night, rather than listen to a podcast or read a book or listen to something on Audible, I have to realize that that is a vote against who I wish to be. So one of the thoughts I want to leave you with as you head into this weekend is, what does your optimal life look like? Like, who are the people in your life? What do you do on a daily basis? How much money are you earning? How much time are you spending with your family? And how healthy are you? So kind of create that vision of who you want to be. Next step is to like write out details. What are the daily habits of somebody that looks like that? And start practicing those habits every single day. Ask yourself specifically, in order to for me to become that person who I want to be with these big goals, what are some of the habits, and then what are specifically the things I can do to win my day? So instead of judging a day by the weather at the end of the day, I'm going to judge the day by whether I worked out. For me, it's running. So if I run 3 miles a day, if I make my calls for recruiting, because I'm prospecting just like you guys, I'm just prospecting real estate agents. You guys are prospecting buyers or sellers. So if I make my calls, if I prospect, and for me, it's reading. So I have to read for 1 hour a day. If I'm doing those 3 things, I feel like I've won the day. And the point is, you're not going to win every single day. The point is, we want to set something up so you at least know when you're winning a day or when you're losing a day. Because at the end of a year, like if you can win 5 days out of a week, so maybe 2 days a week you didn't get to the gym, or maybe 2 days a week you didn't do your reading like you said you would, but being conscious of it so that next week when you start over, knowing like, hey, I got to start Monday because this week I'm going to win the week. It's not about winning every day. It's about winning the week. So winning the week is like if you can get 5 days out of the 7 living your life by design, then you're going to win the month, and then you're going to end up winning the year. Meaning that most of the actions that you take on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, most of the actions you take are moving you towards the person you wish to be. Again, that book is Atomic Habits, and I forgot to look up the author, but I think it was James Clear. It is one of those books that I've read it a couple of times. I have a whole bunch of notes in it. And if you're a little bit fuzzy on who exactly you want to be, because one of the things I notice in talking to real estate agents regularly is sometimes we set goals that are, in my opinion, way too small, like because we don't want to let ourselves down. And so what is possible for you? So if you're not sure like what's possible for you, I say look around you. Like anything is possible, but look around you, see who is somebody who I'd kind of like to be like. Who is the person, like that real estate agent in the company that is making a lot of money, spending lots of time with family, going on vacation, staying healthy. Like, find that person and even pick their brain and say, like, what does your life look like on a daily basis? What are some of your habits? What time do you wake up every day? How do you make sure you have time for going to the gym? How much do you read? And ask them, like, specifically, how do they organize their day? And what does a winning day look like for them? What I would suggest is that the people that you meet that are achieving those big goals in life, the ones that are making lots of money, spending lots of time with family, what I would suggest is that they live a life by design, that they are not like winging it on a daily basis. So the people that are winging it are the ones that are not achieving their goals. Like, if you don't have a system in place as to what's going to happen today, what's going to happen tomorrow when you wake up, like, what are the things that you're going to do, that means you're winging it, and you are not making votes through your actions in favor of the person you wish to be. So that's one of the things I've been working on over the last couple of weeks since our last coaching call. And by the way, I really spent a bunch of time like focusing on those items, like what are the things that I would consider I won the day. And there's so many things to choose from. Like maybe you decide you win the day if you can solve 3 problems, or maybe you win the day if you reach out to 5 past customers. Maybe you win the day if you hand out 6 business cards. Maybe you win the day if you simply have dinner with your family and shut off the phone. Like that, those are kind of cool ways to win the day. Maybe you win the day by creating value for other people 3 times a day. Maybe you win the day by taking every day and finding and using one new resource in your business. So think about those things. Another piece that I spent some time on over the last couple of weeks is spending time studying emotional quotients, or EQ. Emotional quotient, basically the whole idea of emotional quotients is oftentimes when we're doing business planning at the end of the year to get ready for next year, one of the things we do as real estate professionals is we look at our income for the last 12 months and we look at our expenses. Like, where did our money go out the window? Because what we want to know is, like, what did we really gain throughout the year? The only way to know what you really gained is to know what you spent. Like, what are your costs? However, what I would challenge you with is many of the biggest costs of your business, the biggest expenses you have, are not, like, you're not seeing them on a profit and loss at the end of the year. Because sometimes what our biggest costs are in our business is, like, one of the biggest costs is that we believe we know everything. Like, we don't realize how much we don't know. That's a massive, massive expense. Another big expense is our emotions. So let me give you 2 different examples of that. Number one, the cost of our emotions. So one of the stories I read many years ago was I read a book about Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln was known as being a president who got along with everybody. Like, everybody, no matter like what side of politics you fell on, everybody loved Abraham Lincoln. Well, he had some really unique leadership skills. One of the skills he was really good at is if he was super annoyed or aggravated or angry at someone, one of the things he would do is he'd sit down and spend like 2 hours handwriting this really long letter to the person, like putting all of his anger and emotions into that letter. Then once it was all done, instead of mailing the letter, he would put it into his fire. He'd just burn the letter. And then he'd wait a couple of days. And then if he still felt like he needed to say something to the person who annoyed or aggravated him, if he still felt like he needed to say something to them, he'd rewrite the letter. And oftentimes, instead of being like a 3-page letter of why he hated this person, it would be like a short little letter that really got to the point with all the emotions taken out of it. So think about this, like, when you get annoyed or aggravated at someone, this all comes down to the emotional quotient. There's a bunch of awesome books on this, but what the whole idea of it is, the people that achieve the highest level of success in business and life are phenomenal at controlling their emotions. Not always easy, especially in this job, because we get let down a lot. So the people that achieve the greatest success in this business are awesome at like being let down and moving on to the next thing, not getting caught up, angry, annoyed, like not having to say the last word. They shut up, because the cost of saying something, the cost of letting your emotions dictate your actions is extremely high. Like, you gotta just hold it back. So the whole idea of emotional quotient is that if you can control your emotions, because there's 2 different levels of it. Number 1, controlling your emotions, because there is a high price to pay if you cannot control your emotions, because what's going to happen is when you lose the listing, you're going to give that seller a piece of your mind. Whereas if you didn't say anything, there's a good chance that seller goes with another agent's not happy, and then they come back to you. When you can't control your emotions, it is super difficult to build relationships with people. And we are in a relationship business. But the second tier of that is that if you can control your emotions, then you have a unique perspective that you can help other people control theirs. And that is the business we're in as well. We are dealing with buyers, sellers, other real estate agents, and even when we can control our emotions, we're dealing with everybody else's emotions. That's the business we're in. All we do all day, every day, is we are helping other people. We are controlling, manipulating, helping people see through a different lens their emotions. So if you can control your emotions, then you can help other people control their emotions. Think about how your emotions are affecting your business. And is your ability to control your emotions a profit center in your business, or is it a massive expense? Because if you are not controlling those emotions properly, it is probably a massive expense, which means you're probably burning some bridges. You're probably reacting quickly to stuff. And that stuff costs you a ton of money. It costs you a ton of personal relationships. So when thinking about your profit and loss and the expenses you have, rather than trying to cut out the measly little expense you're paying for a CRM that you're not using, why don't you spend some time working on different ways to control those emotions? There's tons of books on this. I've read a couple books just in the last few weeks about the emotional quotient, and there's tests you can take so that you can figure out your emotional quotient, where you stand. And by the way, if you're adding people to a team, you can figure out if they have a high emotional quotient, because basically what you can tell is that somebody that has a super low emotional quotient, unless they figure out ways to work around it, they're never going to do well in this business if they can't control their own emotions, meaning that they're going to react quickly to things. But there's lots of ways that you can learn. Like, it's something you learn. It's not like you're born with the ability to control your emotions or you're not. It's something that you can learn. And create new ways. So, for example, like the whole thing with Abraham Lincoln didn't mean that he wasn't super annoyed or aggravated or emotional when people like screwed up or screwed him. It just meant that one of the systems he put into place so that he didn't like spew what he had to say to the person right after it happened is he said, all right, I'm going to write down, I need to get this out of my head. So one of the things Abraham Lincoln did to control it was to say, I'm going to spend all this time getting it all out, then I'm going to throw it into the fire. And then I'm going to wait a few days. And then if I still feel like I have to say something, because how many times has that happened where like after a few days, you cool off, you forget about it, you move on. So, and the second example I gave, because we only have about 5 more minutes, the second example I gave of something on your P&L, a huge expense that is kind of invisible, but it's way more expensive than all the stupid things that are showing up on your credit card, like the CRM that you're not using or the leads that you're purchasing, things like that. The other one is like believing what you believe is a massive expense. So that's really hard. We are human beings. We have egos, and we tend to believe what we believe. So if you question why you believe what you believe, you will start to realize that some of your beliefs are just junk. And if you can start questioning, so interestingly, if you believe that your listing presentation is like all that, it's the best listing presentation ever, you're not going to ever look to see if there's a better way to do a listing presentation. And same on one of the ways that I look at it in my business, like if I believe that I'm an awesome recruiter, I'm never going to be open to training or new ways of doing stuff because I believe what I believe. But if I step back and say, well, what would life look like if I didn't believe my belief? So for you, like to step back and say, what if I didn't believe my belief about my listing presentation? I just had this awesome conversation with one of our agents yesterday. It was an agent who has kind of jumped from real estate office to real estate office over the last 5 years. And within real estate offices, he jumps from team to team to team and never finds what he's looking for. Well, why is it he's never finding what he's looking for? Because the answer is never outside of us. So I said to him, I'm like, rather than spending all this time interviewing for teams once again for the 5th time in 5 years, why don't you instead spend that time like focusing on what you don't know? So I said, interestingly, like you're out there looking for some new lead services. So you want leads from teams. I said, we have leads. And so, for example, OpCity or Boost by Home Spotter leads. And he's like, oh, I didn't realize that we even had lead programs. So I said, we do have lead programs. And you would have known that if you had attended the monthly boot camp. We have a killer boot camp that we deliver once a month. It has a 400-page manual of all the tools that are available at Lair. We show you how to use all the tools, how to maximize the tools, how to get like a killer listing presentation, buyer presentation, pre-listing package. We show you how to use our tools to go build a phenomenal business. Yet sometimes nobody looks at any of it because they're like, I already have everything I need to build an awesome business, so I really don't need any of those tools. I have everything I need. Well, what if you didn't believe that? What if you had a different belief? If you believe you already know everything you need to know, what happens is you don't attend a boot camp because you already know what you know. You don't read the articles, not only the internal articles about how to be successful, but you don't read industry articles on how other people are being successful. you don't attend training programs. If you believe you already know everything, then you don't attend training programs. If you believe you already know everything, then at 8 o'clock on a Friday night, you're going to watch Stranger Things on Netflix rather than read a book, because that book might just have something that you didn't know you didn't know. So let's see what time it is. All right. So we are at the end of our 30-minute program. I guess what I want to leave you with, the three things I guess I would want to leave you with for as you go into the weekend and think about, like, I want you to remember that you can design your life, which means design your day to become the person you would like to be. So, are you living your life by design? I want you to remember that every action you take, or choose not to take, by the way, every action you take or the actions you choose not to take, all of those are a vote for or a vote against the person you want to become. So you could say you want to earn $200,000 a year in income, but if you sleep till 10 o'clock and then you get up and search Facebook for an hour and get involved in political rants on Facebook, then you go out to lunch, then in the afternoon you don't do anything productive, like, you can have years go by. You're never going to achieve your goal because you have not set a system in place, habits to create the daily design of your life so that you're achieving what you wish to achieve. And then I want you to think about the biggest expenses in your business, and those huge, massive expenses that are so invisible, those huge ones, are how much are your emotions costing you? Like, when was the last time you really got super annoyed at somebody that you burned a bridge? That was an emotion. That was acting. That wasn't a logical thinker. That was responding. So what are the costs of your emotions? And then what steps can you take? Like, go reading some books about how to control that so that you're a logical thinker all day, every day, in every instance, because you cannot build a team if you are not a logical thinker all day, every day. And then I want you to think about, like, the cost of what you don't know. There's a cost to not reading the articles we publish on our daily Career Den. There is a cost to not checking out the new listing presentation we just gave everyone in our company. There is a cost to not looking. We have all the social media posts that you need for the next 5 years. We've already uploaded to our Career Den, and we've emailed about it. We've put it into the Career Den and articles, everything you need in there to build a great business. Like, I'm telling you that by not tapping into that little resource, that you're losing 5, 10, 20 or more transactions a year. By not checking out new training programs just to see what other people are doing, it is a massive cost to you. So with that, I want to wish everybody a great weekend, and I will be back Friday mornings at 9 next week. Thank you for joining me.